Hello everyone, and welcome back to another session of Bloodborne PvP and another weapon showcase. This time I am using the Beast Claws, which are a pretty cool weapon, but one that's, in my opinion, not that great for PvP. This weapon, in my opinion, is really one that's meant more for PvE, and can really do some amazing work in PvE, but PvP I find it to be lacking. But more on that later. So, the Beast Claws. This weapon is actually one that you get in Chalice dungeons, which I think is really cool. I think that would be really nice if we saw more unique weapons, not just lost or uncanny weapons, but more weapons specific to Chalice dungeons. I think that would be really cool if we saw more of that later on. But again, that's a conversation for another time. The Beast Claws, though, getting started. They require 14 strength and 12 skill in order to wield. They have a C scaling in strength, a D scaling in skill, and a D scaling in arcane. The physical base damage of the weapon is 150, with an attack rating for me with average blood gems of 380, which is really not that good considering the average for the majority of weapons is actually right around between 420 and 450. That's a fair difference right there. That is a significant difference in damage, and that can be problematic. That is problematic, actually, but more on that later with the cons. So, this weapon, as you guys have noticed, there's that little beasthood meter that's going up. Now, what that exactly does, when you build that meter, it essentially puts you into a berserk state. You take more damage, but you also deal more damage, and the amount of damage that you can deal when that meter goes up is insane. You can do some crazy amounts of damage with a fully built up meter, which I've only ever been able to manage once, and that was in PvE. In PvP, I have not got this thing even halfway, not even a quarter of the way up. But when you get it high up, you can do some really good stuff with it. Now, in the very first fight, I got it decently up. As far as all the fights are concerned, it was the highest I was able to get it. Now, in that fight, at the highest point I got it, I was previously hitting 250s, and at the end of the fight, an R1 hit nearly 500 damage, I think. So, that just goes to show, these things can do some really good work. Like, really good work if you get that meter built up. But getting it built up is the hard part. Now, I'm going to do cons first this time, guys. The biggest con of this weapon is that it's short, and that shortness can cause some real issues if you're trying to hit someone in PvP. They're dodging around a lot, you have to be able to predict for that, and it's just really hard to do because the weapon is so short, and you're dependent on hitting them often to build up that meter. It doesn't really work well, it's not a good combination, so that's my main issue with this weapon in PvP. People dodge too much. People don't run into my attacks. That's really what I'm complaining about here with this weapon. It's difficult to use because it's short and people, tend to actually be decent at dodging. So, it is what it is. Now, the pros of the weapon. First off, that beast meter, you can do some amazing stuff with it. But, as I've said numerous times, it's, in my opinion, something better for PvE than PvP. Other pros, the short, really quick slashes. Those are nice, and the charged R2 in the first form has a 1.8 times damage multiplier. That's all well and good, but really the main thing about the first form that sort of separates it from the second form is the fact that, first off, you can use your gun and punish all the people who will be healing in your face when you use these weapons, or this weapon, and second, all of its R1 attacks, dashing or otherwise, have a higher damage multiplier, which I thought was odd, so there's that. Now, in the second form, you've got the alternating short-range slashes. That's really cool, but typically you can't get more than a 3-hit stun on someone. Typically it's only a 2-hit stun, so that's something to keep in mind. The strong attack is a left-handed strong slash, which is really cool, and it actually has a shockwave that does 1.05 times damage. So if you miss with the main attack, you can still hit with that, which is nice. But that's all I've got for this weapon, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video, found it helpful in one way or another. Please like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. And if you want to support the channel further, you can check out the Patreon. That's linked down in the description. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this one, and I will see you all next time.